Today, together, we'll be reviewing a brand new set of headphones with brand new, never before seen technology within a headphone, the ORA GrapheneQ headphones. Hi, I'm Oliver. If you're new around here, I haven't made a video in a while and I also need a haircut. All right, no bullshit. How do they sound, how do they function, and what do they cost? I'm gonna start you back in January when my first set of these was mailed to me. This is my initial unboxing and initial reaction. Friends, family, neighbors, I will get into all the technical details of these headphones after I have my initial reaction. Ooh. Oh, they smell so good. Wow. I'm not impressed. Excellent testing song by Hans because of the massive drop, if you will. I'm ready to cry, Aura. I just love listening to music in headphones so much. Okay, there's a lot of crowded frequencies going on here so far. Bring in this big boy. What I'm gonna do is go a little bit more analog. This isn't true analog because it's gonna be digital music, obviously. We're gonna be streaming it from the internet. But what it allows me to do is juice up the signal a little coming out of this amp and control the gain a little better to get me a little bit of a hotter signal because I was not impressed with the gain. Okay, well this might be a little unfair, but I have to compare them to the big boys to be able to kind of get my bearings. I can't beat that. You all know the HD650s. Good production on the new Bahamas album. To now really put this guy through the ringer. So yeah, the frequencies are really fighting with each other. They're very crowded, especially in the low mids. The highs aren't as big, rich, wide, and open as I expected them to be. It's very crowded down there. Now, let's compare them to the Sony XM3s. Yeah, no contest. These crush these, because everything crushes these. Now let's check out the AirPod Pros. Good, only one connected. That's so classic. Okay, I'm listening out of only one ear. Apple, you need to get your shit together. Now, flash forward to today, a few things have happened. I'm just assessing the sound here. We're not talking about function or cost quite yet. But I contacted Aura because I was not impressed with these headphones. First of all, they were not that loud. I couldn't get them to the desired loudness I wanted when listening on Bluetooth. Also, they were very muddy, they lacked a high end, and the bass was there but punchy and just all up in your face, and I was not impressed by the sound quality for their price point and for the technology, which we'll get into. So before I even get into the sound quality, I emailed Aura, I told them all this, and I said, hey, is there a chance that I have a defective model? And they gave me an email back that said basically they had to tune this at a quieter volume to meet the European Union standard at 100 DPSL, DBSPL, however you say that, making them effectively a quieter headphone. And he said, yeah, there might be a problem with yours, send them back, we'll send you a new one with the new tuning. He said tuning, but he was talking about loudness. I was a little bit confused. So I got the new pair out and I heard literally no difference between the new one and the old one. So how did they sound? Well, they don't sound terrible, but they don't sound great. There is virtually no high end, like no real crisp big high end. The high end sounds like it's all compressed and pulled together and right up on your ear. The mid range is kind of muddy and not very clear. There is a punchy and good bass, but it is not working in conjunction with the other frequencies. They reminded me a lot of the Sony WH-1000X Mark IIIs, which are obviously a very popular, big, great noise canceling headphone, but they don't sound that good. The Bose NC700s sound much better than these. The Neurophones sounded much better than these. When I go to my wired headphones, the Beyerdynamic DT770s just crush these. Even my AirPods compete with these. And that is confusing because they have this brand new technology where they're using graphene in the transducer. So what is the transducer? That is basically the whole component of the headphone that converts energy to different energy. And so in this case, in a headphone, the transducer is taking electricity and making audible sound. And it's a dynamic transducer like most headphones you'll find, where there is a magnetic coil, there is pieces of metal or membranes or high quality plastics and fibers to make a cone, and they vibrate back and forth and create sound for your ears. Well, the higher quality those materials are, typically the better sound you get. I don't know a lot about graphene, but they used graphene in this headphone, and supposedly it's incredibly lightweight and incredibly strong. That's all I know about it. I claim no expertise on that material, but it is opposed to some of the metals or plastics used in other headphones, and graphene's never been used to this day in a headphone until now. And what they boast is because of its incredible lightweight structure, that it is able to clearly produce really solid, clear, transient frequencies. When they first reached out to me, I thought they were talking about an electrostatic headphone, which is a different speaker design where a large, thin membrane is held in an electromagnetic field, and there's like virtually no distortion with those speakers because they have such an incredible frequency response that all the mid distortion that usually happens in a normal cone is way high in frequencies we can't hear, and therefore they're totally clear and totally transparent. And I thought that's what they were talking about. It's not that. It's still the same magnetic coil dynamic design, but with graphene instead of a different metal or plastic that is in other headphones. And so the net effect of this GrapheneQ, their version of graphene, is they're claiming more frequencies than you've ever heard before. Incredibly high end, incredibly clear mids, incredibly clear bass. Well, I didn't experience that, to be honest, at all. They sounded muddy, like I just said. Now that confused me, and so I did the test between them and many other headphones, and honestly they sound on par with my Sennheiser HD280 Pros. They're not for me. They are definitely not worth $400 if you are an audiophile in any way, shape, or form. Moving very quickly to function, they function just fine. They pair just fine. I didn't have a problem with range. I'm not a huge science geek on Bluetooth stuff, and I usually have my phone really near me when I'm using them in a Bluetooth application. It was all adequate, and that passed the test. You have the swiping features on the right cup, similar to a lot of consumer headphones these days. Those worked mostly fine. They were a little clumsy, but that's to be expected with that kind of stuff. They're really clumsy on the Sonys when you're trying to swipe up, swipe right, swipe left, especially if you're on the go. Those things are cool. Nice to have that functionality. We like it. We're in the modern world. So are you. All good. Cost, $400. So the Kickstarter period has completely ended, and they totally reached their goal, but you cannot buy them yet. But it looks like that the perks in the Kickstarter were upwards of $400 for a pair of these headphones. That's as much as the Neurophone. I mean, that's a lot of money for a set of headphones, and they better sound really good for that amount of money. They say that world famous conductor Gustavo Dudamel, he's the music director of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, he tried these, said, quote, "I was immediately blown away by the level of detailed, crystal clear sound from their speakers. From Brahms to Latin American folk songs, I heard every musical detail with a level of clarity I've only ever experienced from the podium in front of an orchestra." Now, first of all, that is a hell of a thing to say. Because if you've ever gone to the symphony, you know that there is something so magical and special about getting the true dynamic range of the acoustic performance of all those people sitting together on that stage in a room made for that sound. I weep every time I go to the symphony. I'm not even kidding to you. It's a very confusing statement to me, because like, was he paid or is he stupid? Or did I get 2 defective pairs in a row? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. So again, this is just me. I'm not making a blanket statement about these. You should try them yourself. But as somebody who cares very deeply about audio, what I'm hearing is important to me. And if I spend all day working, mixing a project or doing a video edit or writing a piece of music in my Beyerdynamic DT770s or my Sennheiser HD650s, or even with my JBL LSR 308s in the actual room, I am very conscious of the way I experience sound, and I do have to take breaks from the type of listening environment I'm in to get into a different one, to come back and get fresh ears and make sure that I am being as unbiased as possible. And I've spent a lot of time with these headphones, a lot of time. So, I'm confused, Aura. I don't give them that many stars. So again, thank you to Aura for sending these out. I really do appreciate that, giving me the chance and taking the risk for me to give an unbiased review. With nothing else, I will see all of you next week.